Hi everyone, my name is Tai Bender from Growing Meadows, and I am super excited to be participating in this collaboration Bible Art Hop hosted by Spread the Word. Spread the Word is a group on Facebook, and I hope you will join us. We can share our art together there, prayer requests, and we just have a really wonderful time talking about YouTube and Periscope and just giving each other tips and encouragement in our art worship ministries. So please join us over in that group. You can see, guys, today I'm going to be doing some Bible art journaling in one of my hymnals. I use several vintage hymnals to do art journaling in. This is a fun little 70s folk hymnal, and I love journaling in a hymnal because it gives me so much freedom just to cover up the text and just really let loose. Plus, I love doing these 2-page kind of spreads so you can really have some fun and put on a lot of embellishments when you are journaling. I'm going to start out by using some Master's Touch acrylic paint. This is the first time I've used this black paint color, and I'm so excited with how well it covered, because I wanted, the look I was going for on this page was to completely cover the lyrics on that right hand page and give me somewhere to do some journaling later. It came out to kind of a really black chalkboard looking page, and I loved it. So you can see the method that I'm using to paint here is just to scrape the paint really thinly onto the page. So I do that by putting it on the edge of the credit card, or old gift card, I guess this is, and just pushing down into the page, and it dries. You can see there where I was touching the black paint. It dries pretty much instantly when you do this, and you can keep working on your journaling. And on, for example, on the left, you can still read through the colors there, and that was a Liquitex bright aqua green was that color. This color that I'm using here is neon pink. It is from Artist Loft, and that is a brand that you can find at Michael's. So I really love these bright colors against the black, and it's turning out super fun. But you guys can do this with any acrylic paint. I would recommend using a paint in a tube rather than one in a bottle. The bottled ones tend to be harder to see through, and they're very chalky. They're just not as easy to work with. I mean, you certainly can use them, but I would suggest using one of these tube paints if you want the same sort of look. So I'm just using my card there as a little palette, and obviously my finger, just to add some little elements to the page. I like just layering on, just layers of interest. That's kind of how I'm building up the page here. Next, I'm going to go ahead and move on to some stamping. I'm going to be using some stamps from my shop, Growing Meadows, on Etsy, and I'll have some links for you guys. I love this stamp set, and it's called This World Is Not My Home. It's brand new. This is actually the first time that I'm using it. So I'm inking up my Earth stamp from the stamp set using a black Stays On ink pad. A lot of these inks that I'm using, actually I think about every ink I'm using in this, will bleed through your pages. Especially if you don't have paint behind it. Now, since I've put down the acrylic paint, probably won't bleed as badly, but if bleeding is a problem for you, you might consider using some sort of gesso or page prep. I never prep my pages, so that's just, I'm not really sure what to recommend. I just go with it. If there's bleeding, I just work with it the next time I'm on the page behind. So you can see me stamping down, and I'm lifting up the chipboard strictly because behind that page, on a previous page, there's a lot of embellishments. So I'm not getting a nice hard surface to stamp down on. So that's why you kind of see my hand going under and behind that chipboard to kind of push up on the stamp. And I'm still using that black Stays On ink and just adding on, a moon and some stars. And it is looking super cute. And I will tell you guys, we are working in Hebrews chapter 11 verse 13, and I'll be reading that for you in just a few minutes. I've switched to some distress ink, and I've got the big Saturn stamp from the stamp set, and I'm inking it up with my pink distress ink. I'm basically going for a tone-on-tone look here. This is a look you may be familiar with me using, and I'm going to stamp it right down over the pink paint. And what you will see is it's almost then becomes a background element. And I actually meant to do these Saturns before I did the black ink stamping. But I'm just going in and going over, and I'm kind of lining up where I want the stamp to go. And I'm going to switch to this teal color. I think this is called Peacock Blue distress ink. And I'm going to put one right over there on top of that aqua paint so that it also blends in to the background and just add some fun background elements to the page. I'm going to do that again on the right hand page up at the top, and you can see I'm letting the stamp kind of go off the edge of the page. It doesn't have to be all on there. So that just adds, like I said, just some interest, backgrounds, building layers to make the page look very interesting. And you can see there the same thing. I'm picking up that chipboard just because there's some embellishments back there, and I know that if I don't give it an extra press from behind, I'm not going to get a clear impression. So if you have a flat surface that you're working on, you certainly don't need to do that. Now I'm using the stamps from the set that say "Give Me Jesus," and I'm doing the same thing, just with the pink ink and adding it onto the background of the page on that left hand page. I'm going to be doing most of my journaling over on the right hand page, so I'm just adding and decorating here over on the left hand side. Now I'm going to remove those chipboards for a few minutes here and get on to my next element. So I have some star confetti. These came from Party City. I love little confettis, and adding little confettis and glitters to my pages with some extra textural elements. You can see here that this is just white Elmer's glue. I literally stole this from my kid. You may have caught on there that it says Elijah's glue. So yeah, if you have a kid, you can totally steal their glue and go on with this process. Or you could use, sometimes they use double-sided tape. I think these confettis are a little bit thicker, and I think the white glue really helps them stay on a little bit better. It does make it too, later in the video, a little easier to move them around because a few of the stars end up in my way, and since they're not dry, I'm able to kind of push them out of my way. And they, basically I'm dumping on way more than necessary, and after the glue dries, I'll just pick up the page and drop off the ones that are not stuck down, and I will reuse those. So I'm just putting on a lot of stars here, but they will not all be on the final page. This will cover up the glue and allow me to keep working while it's still wet. And then, like I said, after it's completely dry, probably overnight, I will just give it a shake off and collect the stars that are not stuck and put them back in the little pouch. So I'm just pulling, you can see where I had dumped a lot of them up there at the top that I don't need. So I'm just pulling those down onto the little bottom section there that I'm working in. Alrighty, I decided I wanted to add the stamp that says "This World Is Not My Home" over on the right hand page. So I'm using this pigment ink. It's a white ink by Hero Arts, and the color is called Unicorn. I really like this ink because it stamps very well over top of black. That's actually the main reason I bought it. I've used it for several other things, but I knew that it would work because I've done it in the past. So it will show up and it will dry white. You have to be careful with the pigment or chalk inks, especially this brand. It takes a long time for the ink to dry, and it will smear very, very easily. So you want to be careful of that. Also, I pulled out several washi tapes at the beginning, and I actually plan on putting on washi tape before I put on the confetti, and I forgot to do that. So I'm using this black washi tape with the kind of transparent hearts. It's a really cute little tape, and I cannot tell you, I wish I could tell you the brand of it or where I just don't have any information on it. So I'm so sorry about that. I won't be able to share that. You can see there I didn't want to cover up the moon, so I ripped that off, and then instead of wasting it, I just decided to put that little heart down there in the bottom right hand corner just to peek out of the page. So here's where, when I started the project, I wanted to show you that I pulled out 3 washi tapes just to go with the paint palette that I had. I just picked some colors out of my stash that matched, and then I ended up not using them, and that's totally okay. So I was just kind of showing part of the creative process there. I wanted to let you see that. And now I'm going to start journaling the verse, and I'm using a Jelly Roll pen. This is one of the Moonlight pens, and I'll have a link for you guys. And I was a little disappointed in the way I did this because I decided to take the word faith, and you'll see here in a second I'm going to use stickers to put the word faith right in the middle of the page here, and then I ended up not having enough room to put the entire verse on. So again, I could have scrapped this part of the video, I could have started over, but I really wanted to, you guys to see, hey, this is just part of the process, and sometimes that happens. So the verse that I wanted to journal, Hebrews 11, verse 13, "These all died in faith, not having received the things promised, but having seen them and greeted them from afar, and having acknowledged that they were strangers and exiles on the earth." And that's kind of the theme I'm using here on my pages. This world is not my home. And Hebrews 11, if you read the verses up to verse 13, we are just talking about these wonderful just heroes of faith. And I encourage you to go back and read that. It's known as the Hall of Faith. And just some amazing, amazing ancestors that we have, and kept that faith and knew that this world was not their home, even though they never saw the promise. They never had the Messiah like we do. They didn't have that full understanding like we can have, and the fullness of Jesus. They just didn't have that, but they knew, and they could see that it was there and it was coming and it was a promise, and they pressed on through all of those struggles. And that's just such a blessing to us even now, thousands of years later. So definitely go back and read Hebrews chapter 11. It's an amazing chapter. And I'm still using here a Jelly Roll pen, a Moonlight pen. So again, I will give you guys some links for those pens. Right here in this little tube, I'm using acrylic paint, and it's the same brand. That's why I showed that black one again. It is the Master's Touch acrylic paint, and it's just watered down. I keep this in a little tub because I like to use it for splattering. And so I'm just using a regular paintbrush here. I'm giving it a mix because sometimes it can separate. And I'm just tapping it off on my finger. You do want it to be pretty wet to get this effect. That's why I keep it mixed with water in the little separate container. Tap, tap, tap right on my finger. And you can see I'm getting some bigger splatters, and then I switch to kind of flicking down onto the brush, and that gives you kind of the tinier splatters that you see there. So I decided to take my black Uniball gel pen. This one is the Bold pen, and I just want to make it look like these are suspended from the top of the page rather than just sitting there. Just to add, like I said, another element to the page, I'm going to make it look like they are suspended there. And guys, that is it. The page is totally finished. I love the way it turned out. These colors are super calling to me. I might have to start using black paint more often. So go back and read Hebrews chapter 11. Check out the other ladies in the Bible Art Hop. It's going to be awesome. And you guys, I will totally see you next time. Hopefully have some new videos for you all soon. Stamps again are in the Growing Meadows Etsy shop, and look for some links in the description. Bye.